First thing is need to understand how do we connect, how do we load any data to the Power BI. That was our primary aim. Now in today's session, on Friday we have also seen few charts as well, how charts would work. Now in today's session, we would also see few more insights what we need to follow while creating any specific report. There are few rules and regulations. Now these are all standard rules and regulations which we need to follow, which we need to abide them. Only then we would generally create a useful and interactive report. So give me a few minutes. I would start sharing my screen. Anyone who has any questions until now, which we have covered, or maybe somewhere you're stuck, feel free to ask so that I can answer it prior to starting the session itself. Any questions anywhere you're stuck? Monday morning, long weekend or 2 days, it's okay. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
I have a small request. That is, when you'll be navigating, right, like towards the data or something, I request you to please, use your paint or something because I'll be traveling in the morning, and I'll not be able to see like, where you're pointing out something. So after some 2-3 minutes, I'm able to find it where you are pointing out. If you can use something like red marker or something like this, right? It will be easy for me to look into it.
Okay. So see, if I open any application marker, I'm not sure if I can use a marker in that application. Okay. If I take a snapshot, if I take a presentation, yes, definitely I can use the marker there.
I mean to say, like, for example, you'll be showing you the Power view, and the right side will be having something like, like data or else where you're pointing out something. So there I'm not finding it. I was seeing throughout the page actually. Then after some 2-3 minutes, I'm able to find it. Okay, this is where you are taking into.
Okay,
Because
I'll try that.
cursor is.
I'll try that.
Thank you so much.
Anyone, any other questions?
Hello.
Go ahead. Hey, Manish.
Sir, what is DBMS?
RDBMS?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's a relational database management system. I mean, any SQL databases are called as RDBMS databases. I'm not sure if you're aware about SQL. I'm not sure if you're aware about database. In simple terms, whatever information which you can store, which you can process that information that can be dumped into a database, which is nothing but a SQL database, structured query language. As a SQL is the language which we use to communicate with that database. So wherever there is SQL, that all SQL databases are called as relational database management systems or relational databases rather. Any question, or maybe if you're not even aware about SQL, is it that the case? If you're speaking, I guess you are on mute. Okay. Anyways, let me start sharing my screen. Now on Friday, we have seen few importance related to bar chart and column chart. Now, how these charts, we can note that charts as well, how you can, generate that charts, how you can identify which axis is best fit for what kind of data type or what kind of data. So, to generally summarize that information, how do we mention bar chart? Bar chart is where we have x-axis, and let's first write x-axis. We have y-axis and we have legend. Now we have seen all three conditions. If I again go back, this is our bar chart. See, in case of x-axis, we are taking a numerical data. X-axis is always a count of that specific numerical data. If you take a look at this chart, this specific chart, if I go to the focus mode, our x-axis You can see 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. It is nothing but the count of cars. If you take a look at the visualization tab towards right, here in the x-axis, it is count of car name. So similarly, what I would mention in case of x-axis, we can always take numeric data. Or maybe we can write it as a count. It would be either count or any specific numeric data. It's always a numeric data. Now, in case of y-axis, if I again go back, see, even if you take numeric data, it is acting like a categorical data. It is acting like a more a kind of string data. I mean, you cannot sum up, right? 2005, 2010, 2015, you are not adding any information. You are keeping that specific years as it is, as intact. So these are all the categorical data. In case of y-axis, it should always be a categorical data. And in case of legend, now we have seen a legend which is called as fuel type. If you take a look at the visualization type, visualization pane here, we have this legend, we have taken fuel type. Now, if I remove this fuel type, I'm trying to remove this fuel type, legend is gone. Now, in case of legend, I'll take any numerical data. Maybe I'll take kilometers driven. Now, if you take a look at this chart, I mean, I'm not able to understand. There is some value which is present here. There is some data which is present here, but I'm unable to understand what this chart is trying to signify. Now, if I hover on this, these are the very small bars, very small, and it is not even readable. Legend means it is nothing but a partition of that information. It is trying to create a partition of that information. Now, if you try to see the partitions, for all the unique kilometers driven, that many number of partitions are present. That many number of partitions. Okay, I'll remove this kilometers driven. I'll take present price. Even for every unique present price, the bar chart is getting bifurcated or partitioned. Now, this is the clustered bar chart. Maybe I'll go back to the stacked bar chart. This is stacked. Within one single bar, all the present prices are stacked. Now, this looks very, I mean, colorful, very interesting. But do you think this specific chart is giving you any specific idea or information? Is it trying to answer any question? You have any question on this chart? The first thing is you are not able to understand what is this. Okay, very interactive, colorful, that's okay, but not able to identify what this chart is trying to signify. Now, the most important part for any specific chart, it might be bar chart, it might be column chart, or it might be any specific charts. In any visualization tool, it might be Power BI or maybe any other BI tool also. Readability of chart is very important. If you are unable to read data, it is of no use. Now I'll remove this present price and I'll again get the fuel type. If you take a look at this chart, this is very straightforward. Only three partitions are there, and that all three partitions are not present in every year. Only in 2015 we have three partitions, and in 2011 we have three partitions. So it is very easy to understand, readable, and if I go back to this view also, even in the very compressed view, the readability of chart is very good. It is easy to understand. So first and foremost thing, whenever you are working on any specific chart, readability has to be very crisp and clear. And why in legend only categorical data or any varchar data is giving you an idea? Because if you take numerical data, any numeric data, maybe if I take selling price also, you see the data is not readable. Chart looks interesting, very colorful, but the information is not readable. Again, I'll go back. Whenever you're working on bar chart, it might be stacked bar chart, it might be clustered bar chart, or there is one more bar chart called as 100% bar chart. Now, we'll discuss that 100% bar chart separately because that has a separate use case. But let's focus on the stacked bar chart and clustered bar chart. whenever you're working on this bar chart, x-axis always has to be numeric because it will be count of information. Y-axis would be categorical data because it's a varchar data, and legend should always be categorical data. Same. It should always be categorical data only. If you take any numerical data, let's assume this case, numeric, in case of y-axis also numeric, and in case of legend also numeric. If I take all three numeric, this is not fit. This is not fit. Why? Because it is very difficult to read. In y-axis, it's year numeric. In x-axis, it's again count of car name numeric. And in legend, it is selling price. So all numeric, everything is numeric here. Is it readable? No, it is not readable. But if I remove this legend and if I take fuel type in the legend, it is easy to understand. Now the question is, why am I calling this year as categorical data, not as numeric data? Year is numeric data, right? This year, you can see this summation symbol. In the data tab, if I hover on this year, I'm trying to hover my cursor on this year. Year is a numeric data. You have this summation icon here. Why am I calling this year as new? I mean, not numeric, no, as a categorical data? Because see, we have 2010, we have 2015, we have 2012, we have 2014. These values are present in the y-axis. Are we summing up these values? We are not summing up these values. We are taking separate bar for these values. These are breaking the information by each year. The y-axis is separating the multiple bars for each years. So it is not working as a numeric data. It is not summing up. It is not counting. It is separating every bar. So that is why year is also called as numerical, or maybe year is also called as categorical, not numeric in terms of this chart. This chart, in the sense, at the current use case, year is also acting like a categorical data. Now, if I remove year and if I take car name again, even this is readable. Okay, the chart is very lengthy. We have a scroller available for this chart. But if you take a look at this, the data is readable. The data is easily readable. It is not that difficult that we may not understand this. Yes, we are able to understand, just that the data is very high. The number of records are very high. So we have a long scroller available for this. So readability of chart is very important. Now, if I get this chart and if I post it here, maybe if I compress it more, see, even in this view also, the chart is easily readable. So we have to make sure that whenever you are working on any specific visual, readability is the most important case. If you're able to read that, read whatever information is present in that, it is straightforward, as easy as maybe, because you're sharing this visual, you're sharing this report to end user. So that end user is not aware how to compress, how to make it large. The only thing which is known as whatever visuals you have created, that should be easily readable. Again, I'll go back. This is for bar chart. For bar chart, all numeric, not fit. Now, if I take all categorical data, this is categorical. Let me have some space. Now, if I take all categorical data, is it readable? Categorical means all varchar data. The first condition was fit condition, or the data is readable. Now, if I take all three categorical, I'll go back to the chart. Now you see all three conditions are categorical. This bar chart, x-axis is count of car name. I mean, it is working like categorical only, but it is still count. Y-axis is car name. Legend is fuel type. This data is readable, but why? Only because x-axis is working like numeric. X-axis is working like numeric. That's the reason this data is readable. Now, if I go to this, there are a few options. Can I change it to normal value? I'm trying to see, can I change this specific count of car name as only car name, not the count of car name? There is no possibility. There is no possibility to change this x-axis as a normal categorical data rather than count of, maybe rather than a numeric data. So that is the ideal behavior of a bar chart. You cannot do anything. And if I remove this x-axis, see, without x and y-axis, there is no bar chart, there is no column chart. If you take y-axis and legend, no use. And if you take x-axis and legend, there is something which is giving you an idea. But what is this? It is simply count of car name. But for which specific year or maybe which specific car name? No. It is all aggregated data. This chart is of no use. I mean, this specific chart is specifically of no use. It is simply giving you count of cars. That's it. But by which axis? There is no axis, right? There is no y-axis. There's only x-axis. So whenever you're working on bar charts, always remember that x-axis and y-axis are must. These two are must. Without these, you cannot work. Even y-axis is must. Now legend is optional. It is not compulsory. It's just an optional component which is available with the bar chart and column chart. So if you take all three categories, this is not possible also. X-axis has to be numeric only. So this is not possible, or maybe if it is not possible, that means it's a not right fit. Now, all numeric we have seen, all categorical we have seen. Numeric, categorical, this is the best fit. Now, if you try any other combination, no combination will give you the right result except this one. X-axis numeric, y-axis categorical, legend categorical. This is the best fit. Now, and this is with respect to both stacked as well as clustered. Now, if I take year and if I change it to the clustered bar chart also, see even this chart. Now, if I compress this chart, readability of this chart is not that great. See, the readability of this chart is not that great. I mean, it is very difficult to read the information. Now, if I compress this, it is not that great. You have to hover on this. And these clustered columns or maybe these clustered bars are very small in size. So how do I make sure that the visual is correct fit? See, readability is first and foremost thing. Once readability is done, can we format this visual so that the data is easily readable? Can we do some formatting for this visual? There is always first and foremost thing, whenever you're working on any Power BI report, the first visual has to be crystal clear. If you format your first visual, then almost all the visuals can be formatted within few seconds. Now, how is that possible? Let's assume this bar chart is our first visual. So once I've loaded the data, once I've dragged and dropped the important columns from the data sets which are available here, now the data is okay, all good. See, in the visualization tab, towards right in the visualization tab, if you go to the format your visual, you are in the add data to your visual. You are adding data in this tab. There is this second tab in between, which is called as format your visual. You can go to this format your visual. Now, what I want to make sure the data is readable. Now, the very first thing for this chart, title is very, very important. Count of car name by year and fuel type. Okay. See, in the format also, there are two options. You can go to this general tab. This is, you are in the visual tab. So whatever you want to format, regarding this visual, you can format it here. Y-axis, X-axis, your legend. You can change your colors for legend also. If I come down, see there are these bars. Where is this color option? Title, text. You'll get a color option here also. You can change the color. Trying to see where this option is. See, you have this color option. So for whichever series you want, you can change the color. For CNG, it is taking us blue, right? So you have to select this drop down, and then only from this legend tab, it is giving you, or in the bars option, you can change your color. Whichever color you want, you can change your color. But the first thing is I want to change the header of this visual. I mean, the header is not that good. So I'll go to the general tab. Header is usually present here. Title. See, count of car name by year and fuel type. So what I'll do, number of cars by year and fuel type, right? This is my header, and I have an option to change the font for this header. I can change. So whichever font you want, usually most important aspect is whichever font you are using for the first visual, that has to be same for all the visuals. You cannot use different fonts. I'm talking about font type, font format. That means the size of that font can be reduced or increased depending on the visual, but the font type should be always similar. That is the standard approach in industry. Whenever you're working on any visuals, use the similar font in all the visuals or complete report. So I'm using this thin. Maybe you can use this thin, or maybe you can go with this Sigio UI. Right? This is looking more interesting or maybe more crystal clear. And I've used the Sigo UI. You can increase the font size 16. 16 is looking very big. Maybe I'll go back to the 14 again. So you have an option here. I want this to be in between. See, in between, it is very easy to understand. And for this specific format, or maybe for this specific header, what I want certain background. There is white background, right? For this complete visual, there is white background. Only for the header, I want a background. So I'll use a background. Maybe I'll use a color which is more easy to understand. I'll go with this shade. Now the text color is black. I'll make it white. Now, if you see, this visual is somewhere getting its exact contrast. The visual is looking more interesting now because you're changing the colors. Now only change the title. I've only touched title. I haven't changed all others. Now this looks good. Maybe I'll make it to bold. Bold is looking more interesting or easy to read. I'll minimize this title. Title looks good. See, for this visual, there are few options in the general tab. In the format general tab, there are other options. What are these options? You can go to this effect option. Inside this effect option, there is a background. What do you mean by background? See, if I remove this background, there is no background. Background grid lines are also visible for this visual. But if I keep this on, default background is kept on. You can change the background color also if you want. You have an option. But usually background color only for one visual is not recommended. For all the visuals, background color should be similar. So what I'll do, let me keep it to white only for this visual as of now. And there are a few other options. There is this visual border. See, you can see a border is added to this visual. You want this border, you can keep it. If you don't want, again, click on that visual, go to format, go to general, effects. You can keep it on, off. Now, I would always recommend to use this shadow option. How this shadow option will have an impact? See, whenever I add a shadow, this visual will look like a 3D visual. There is a background shadow added to it, and this visual will look like a 3D visual. Now, again, I'll go back to the format general. You have few options in the shadow. Where do you want this shadow to be visible? Towards right? Yes. Towards left? Bottom left? See, towards left it is visible. Now, wherever you are placing this visual, now if you are placing this visual here, there is no use of shadow, right? Then you have to make sure you have to change the shadow to right side. Now you can see the shadow is visible. That means this visual is looking 3D. But if you place this visual here, somewhere towards right, I'm placing this visual towards right. Forget about this column chart. I'm talking about bar chart. There is no use of shadow now. Again, I have to go back to the format, general, effects. Shadow is available, but I have to make sure that this shadow is available towards left. Left as well as bottom. So left bottom, bottom left. Now you can see there is this shadow towards left as well as bottom. There's this text box. I'll remove this. So depending on wherever you are using this visual, you can format your shadow, you can format your effect. So there are options. Change the title. Make sure title is very contrast in colors, and color should be very easy to go. It is not recommended to use red, pink, some different shades, blue shade, gray shade, light brown, or maybe dark yellow. These shades are recommended for any visualization. Done. So now only title, only effect is added to this visual. Again, I'll come down to the visual format. What I want to do, I want to change the colors. I'll go back to the axes. Let me see, can I change anything in the axis? So in this axis, I'll go back to the values. Let me increase the value size. See, I can increase the size, I can make it bold. Now it is looking interesting. Year is the y-axis, title. I can make it bold. See, year is bold now. I can increase the size to 14. Now this looks interesting. Maybe you can change the color if you want. You can change your color, but bold is looking like not that good. I'll make it to normal only. Looks good. See, now whenever I've changed few things, I've updated. I've changed this title to 12. What is this? This is just a notification. This is just a notification. What this notification is, the visual is responsive to return to the axis font, enlarge this visual. It is giving you a recommendation that this visual is very small, and if you try to increase the size of the font, it would be not that good. So somewhere it is giving you a notification so that you can increase your size. Maybe you can increase your size. See that notification is gone. Again, I'll come down to the x-axis. Can I change anything in the x-axis? I want this as a number of cars, not count of car name. Count of car name is coming from the x-axis, whatever column you have dragged and dropped. Either you can change in the x-axis, go to the title. See, there are a few options. Title text. You want a different title, you can add a different title here. Or else you can rename that here directly. In the format of, not in the format, in the data option itself, add your data. You can double click on this x-axis. See, number of cars. Done. You have to enter that, only then that information would be saved. And in the legend, see, I don't want this underscore. You can remove that underscore, right? Fuel underscore type. That is coming from the column. But I want only fuel type. You can take fuel type. Formatting is done. Again, if you want some other formatting, you can go back. X-axis, I want values to be bold. I can use a bold. Maybe I'll make it to 10. Looks good. Now I'll come down to legend. Where do you want to place this legend? This legend is top left, top center, top right. Maybe you want center left. Now this is making chart not that readable. No, maybe I'll keep it to top center only because this is easily readable. If you want, you can change the title type also. Here you can change, or else you can change here directly. It is up to us. Where do you want to format that? Now coming down to the bars, see, I want to change the colors. I want the colors to be totally different. There is this border option. What do you mean by border? Um, Border is not giving you that impact. I'll come down. For CNG, I'll take a different color. So what I'll do, I'll take all brown shade, these shades. Let me see. For CNG, I can take this shade. For diesel, I can take a separate shade, maybe light blue. And for petrol, let me try a different shade. See, these are all the shades which are available. If you're not satisfied with these shades, there is this option more colors. You have an option. Whichever shade you want. Now, dark green is looking good. I'll take this dark green. Done. Now, if I take a focus mode, the visual is more interesting now. Because somewhere I've changed the colors, I've used formatting, easily understandable. If you compare this column chart with this bar chart, there is a drastic difference. Both are same. The data is present is same, but the formatted visual is easy to understand. So formatting plays an important role. How you are formatting, which colors you are using, and how you are compressing that visual so that the data is readable. Now, there are a few other options. There is this data labels. If you want, you can add a data label for each bar. See, the data labels are automatically added. For each year, how many number of cars were sold, the data labels are automatically coming. Now, you can format how do you want that data label to be. Maybe you want it to be inside end. Maybe you want it to be outside end. I mean, wherever you want, you have that option. Usually outside is what is more recommended because these are all the bars. So you have an option, you can add a background to them also. So you can add a background. Now this looks more interesting. If I go back to the focus mode, see, this is more interesting. Background, I have added a background. And what do you mean by transparency? See, the color is black, but if I am using a transparency, that is why it is giving you a gray color. If I make it to 0, everything is black. So transparency is how transparent you are using that color, which you have added here, how transparent you want that color to be. So I've used 90%, maybe it is readable, light green color. So you have options. You can add details also. As of now, these are all not recommended, but if you keep the data label on for each bar, there would be a data label given. So formatting of visuals has a very positive impact because it is easily understandable, readable, and very, I mean, if you compare these two, 99% of the time people end up reading the visual towards right as the first because this is very interesting, colorful, as well as easily understandable. Now I'll take a pause. Any question on the formatting? See, what I'll do, I formatted the first visual. My formatting is done. I formatted the first visual. Now this is the column chart. This is the column chart. I'll select the first visual. I'll go to the above ribbon bar. In the above ribbon bar towards left, we have this format painter option. Click on this format painter. Go to this visual, paste it here. Automatically formatting is done. I haven't touched anything. Automatic formatting is done. Total automatic formatting. Now, only thing is you have to change few names here. I want car name, not car underscore name in the x-axis. Remove that underscore, get that placed. Count of cars, I want number of cars. Number of cars. So somewhere you have to change the names, the fonts, that you can change. But complete color formatting, title, everything I have done within one single click. That is the importance of formatting your first visual. If you format your first visual, all other visuals can be easily formatted using this format painter. So first thing, whenever you drag and drop any visual, the first visual, try to format that visual as crystal clear as that. Once that is done, you can format any other visual. I'll take a pause. Any questions?
Hello.
Yeah, Mo.
Sir, is there anything something like formatting standards that are used in the industry, or it depends or it varies according to requirements?
It varies according to requirements. I mean, see, whatever I am covering, that are all industry standard. But specifically, if you want to that visual that this is the font you want to use, so these are all recommended by client, or maybe when you are working with any client, you mutually agree that this is the font I would be using, so you can mention them. So it all depends
Uh,
on project and client, not specific to industry standard. But yeah, how do you format? Which colors do you use? Even color, see what I would recommend, always go with the colors which are mild in nature. So you cannot use a red color for any visual, but I would not say that it is not possible to use or red color is not at all used. If you're working for a client called VI, Vodafone, Vodafone has their color in red only. So there you have to use red colors or red formats. If you're working for any client where their font is in red, their background is in red, so you have to use red color shades. But usually mild colors are used. Yellow, blue. Blue is most widely used because it's more wild, maybe mild and easy to go. Gray colors, but if you want some visual to be very, that information to be easily understandable, you can use a darker shade. But in terms of darker shade, dark blue, dark green, dark brown. So these shades are recommended.
okay. Sir.
Any other questions? Now we have seen formatting of a visual. First and foremost thing, before formatting of a visual also, now there are multiple pages. First thing, whenever you open this Power BI desktop, the Power View, visualization we have directly started with. But prior to visualization, there is one thing which you need to consider, the size of the page. The standard size of the page is 720 by 1280. How is it that the case? See, whenever you are opening this desktop or whenever you're opening this Power BI, Power View, you have to click on between the white page. If you click on the visualization formatting would be open. But if you click here, you can go to the format your report page. I'll go here. You can see if you go to the canvas settings, 720 by 1280 is the standard format, which is 16 by 9. This is the standard page format. Now, is this the standard format which is used? No. You have multiple options. You can compress it to 4:3, which is 720 by 960. You can compress it to the letter format, which is even smaller, but the length is high. And maybe you can use this tooltip. Now, what do you mean by tooltip? Tooltip we would be covering at the end. So there we would be using this tooltip format. And the last one is custom format. What I'll do, I'll change it to 16 by 9 and I'll come down to the custom format. Custom means you can change your height and width. You have your own height and width, you can change it. Usually 16 by 9 is rarely recommended because inside this 16 by 9, you cannot compress more than 4 visuals. I mean, if I'm using 4 visuals, let's go with 16 by 9. This is by 16 by 9. So I'm using these 4 visuals. See, if I compress this visual, this is of no use. So I have to keep it somewhere like this size. I have to use this visual here. So somewhere I can take not more than 2 visuals here. Within this space, I cannot take more than 2 visuals. So 16 by 9 is only used for maximum of 4 or 5 visuals, not more than that. So if you use these visuals in more compressed manner, you can take 5 visuals. But in standard approach or maybe the standard format, 16 by 9 is not recommended. People go with custom. So you can increase your height and width. First and foremost thing, prior to formatting your visual, prior to getting any data to the visual also, you have to make sure you are making your, I mean, uh, you have the option, you have that flexibility. You have to go back and check with the client. See, not every time client would recommend you to go with certain height and width. So it is up to us. You can make an agreement with a client, or maybe you can make an agreement with your project that standard format we can make it to 1000 as height and width as 1400. It is up to us. Whatever format you want, it is up to us. So if you take this format, you can compress your visuals to very small data also. You can compress your visuals to this format as well. Now, do you think this data is very small enough? No, this is not that small. Our view is very large. Our view is very large. Now, how do I make sure that view is visible? See, if you go to the view in the ribbon bar, there is this page view option. In the ribbon bar, I've changed the format of this page to custom, 1000 as height, width as 1400. I'll go to this page view. In the ribbon bar, view tab, page view, there are few options. Actual size of the page is this large. The actual size of the page is this large. You can see towards rightmost corner, there is an option called as zoom in, zoom out. If you place this zoom in between here, this is the actual size of the page. You want to make it to the fit to width. This is the fit to width. Fit to width also, there is a scroller available because height is 1000. And this is fit to page. This is more compressed. This is more a smaller view. So you have options. First and foremost thing, format your page and then get a visual and format your visual. So prior to formatting your visual, you can format your page as well. Now, do you think formatting means only increasing the height and width? No. Now, earlier we have seen we have added a background to a visual. Can we add some background to these two visuals? I want to make sure there is background common for both the visuals. Rather, for a complete page, I want to add a background. So I can click on the white space, go to the format your page. See, there is this canvas background available here. There is this canvas background available here. I can add a background to it. Whatever color you want, you can add a background. Now I've added a blue color. Why that blue color is not visible? There is this transparency 100. You have to reduce this transparency. See, that blue color is coming. So this blue color is very dark. Maybe I'll make it more light. 75 is looking good. This looks interesting. Now this is complete page background. I can add an image to it as well. Now I'm talking about cars. I'm talking about cars. Maybe I can add an image to it, a background image. This image. Maybe I can add this. So I can save this image. Give me a moment.
Hey Ritesh, would you be able to take out the? Can you show how to take out the grid lines on the page that you've added?
Okay. In the same view tab in the ribbon bar, there is this grid lines option. You
Oh,
can
okay,
uncheck them.
got it.
You can click it, you can uncheck them. So I've downloaded that image. Let me browse it. So you can see I've browsed it. I can open that image in the background. Now the question is that image is very small. You can use a fit. You can use fill. This looks good. Maybe you can transparent. Maybe you can make it more transparent. So it all depends. You can add an image. How do you want that? How can you format that? So it all depends. This is canvas background. You want a wallpaper is certainly different. Now, what I'll do, I'll go back, I'll remove this image, I'll make it to white. This is canvas. What I'll do, I'll go to the background wallpaper and I'll add a wallpaper. Wallpaper is including this page size as well as the background. This is of no use. This is of no use for us, but it is also working on the background. Wallpaper is all the background. Now, if I add an image to this, including that page, which is the format, it is going beyond that. So it is all depends. You want a wallpaper or you want only canvas, that specific canvas page background.
When you're putting it on the works on the cloud, will the workpaper? Sorry, will the wallpaper be seen?
Yes, yes. If you publish this report,
Uh-huh.
whatever you make changes as it is, it would be published,
Oh, okay,
including every small dot also.
okay.
So page formatting, change of format, I mean change of the page size, common. And see, if you take a new page here, would you think that new page will take that new format? No. You have to again go back, change the canvas settings and use this custom settings, change height and width. You have to do it manually. Standard format is 16 by 9, which is 720 by 1280. You have to go back and manually change that. So whenever you take a new page, format the canvas settings. Whichever standard format you're using, use that standard format, height and width. Not always 1000 and 1400 is recommended. It all depends on your use case. And common background can be added. Now you will have a question. First thing is, see, whenever you are formatting any page, let's suppose you are formatting this first page. I'll go to the custom tab. I'll change height to 1000. I'll take width to 1400. Maybe I'll make it to 1500. So this is the page. Now, if I formatted this page, let me go to canvas background, add a color to it, add an image to it. Looks good. Fit, not fit, fill will look good. See, you can take a copy of this page. If you right click on this, right click on the page below, there are few options: rename, delete, hide, go with duplicate. So this page you can utilize as page 2. Again, you can click create a duplicate. This page you can you can utilize as page 3. So at the first only, you can take how many pages you want. You can take a copy of that and keep it aside. And then you can drag and drop a visual. You can work on the visual separately on every different page.
And Ritesh, say we have another report, right? Like say this is the report, and we have a new report. If I want to copy the same settings or the page design, is there a way to copy
No,
between one report to another?
no. In one report to another, formatting would definitely change. You can copy the data, you can copy the visual, but formatting would change.
Oh, okay. So there's no way of copying, like, say you
Yes.
create five text boxes or a side panel or like anything.
Okay, see, I'll show you. Maybe I'll simplify it for you. I'm opening a different Power BI desktop, a different page.
So you can't copy the page and put it in another
Yeah,
page.
page copy is not available. Visuals you can copy. So I'll go back to this. Now where we have created our visuals here. See, if I copy this visual, I'll go back here. The thing is, there is no data for this. Maybe I have to load that data. Let me load the data and let me show it that way because it is easy to understand. Get data. We have text or CSV. Have this car data.
I've like read somewhere, but I don't know if it's applicable to this. Is there a possibility to save like the design that you created, right? Which you're duplicating. So is there a way to turn that page into a template and then like import the template? Is there a way to do that?
No.
Okay.
Power BI template is different. I mean,
Like
you
say
cannot
you
copy
did
that
that car
page.
design, right? So is there a way to turn that page into a template so that other people can
No,
import it?
that is not possible.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you see, somewhere the data is getting matched. So this way you can do that. But you cannot copy a complete page. I mean, there is no option. See, here also there is no option. Okay, if you want to copy all the visuals, Control A. See, everything is copied. I've copied Control C. I'll go back. I'll paste it here. So this way you can do that. But your data has to be matching. If you're copying something, your data has to be matching.
Right.
There is an option called as Power BI template that is different. PBIT, that is different. I'll give you an idea what do you mean by template. But there is no that, I mean, there is no as such use case that if you save a template, only visual. Front end visuals, everything would be copied in that template as a PDF format. That is a different part. That is nowhere related to one single page.
Hi, sir.
Hey, Yogesh, yeah.
Yeah, is it possible to paste that format one report to the other format, other reports, sir? That format means.
This format painter is not available from one report to another. But what you can do is, let's assume that this report, the second report, has a different data type, maybe different data only. So what you can do, you can copy one of the visual from here, Control C, go here, paste here. Now,
And then
our
use the
data is
format.
similar, accepted, our data is similar, but if the data is different, remove the columns which are of not use, get the columns of that data, the visual would be formatted anyways, color would be same. So you can use this for format painter and utilize the other visuals.
Okay.
Direct formatting is not available. From this report to another report, there is no format painter directly available. It has to be within that report.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, more.
Sir, generally, how many visuals we can have on one page, sir? Is there any fixed number or it may vary?
See, it may vary. It all depends how long that page is. Usually, I mean, what I would recommend is not more than 8 or 9 visuals. Visuals means it includes all the slicers. There is a slicer option also here. So we will be going through slicer, including slicers, including header, footer. Everything should be not more than 8 or 9. And it is a standard format. You see, if it is more than 8 or 9, that means it would be a very long page. So you have to scroll above, below and above. So what is the ideal use case of Power BI is it should be in one single view. If the page height is very long, 1000 is the maximum height which I would recommend. If you are going beyond 1000, somewhere you will get a scroller here, up, down. So if you filter anything, the data you have to view in two different views, above view, below view. So you will get a scroller, which is not recommended. You can have a different page. Similar, you can have a different page. Create a different page rather than creating a long page, create a different page. Any other questions?
How small multiple will work for the bar charts?
Okay, small multiple we would cover once. I would cover the first line, second line, and third line because all three lines will have small multiples. And small multiples have a similar use case for all the visuals. Small multiples, if I take car name here and if I take year, how many years are there? That many small multiples it will go and create. So there is a use case of it, but very limited. As of now, our primary use case is X, Y, and legend. That's it. Let's not focus on small multiples because all the visuals have small multiples until here. Once we would cover all these visuals, I would give you one single explanation of the small multiple. I mean, easy to understand. Any other questions related to formatting of the visual, formatting of the page? Now I'll again go back. We have seen bar chart. Let me mention the column chart. Both. It would be stacked column chart or it would be clustered column chart. So in both the cases, I'll copy this. I'll go back. Where is our column chart? This is our column chart. Let me move it to focus mode. So in case of column chart, x-axis has to be categorical data only. You cannot take any numeric. So if I take year also here, this is working like a category only. It is not summing up the values. So x-axis has to be categorical data. It is vice versa. In case of bar chart, x-axis was numeric. Only in that case, it was a fit chart. But in case of column chart, x-axis has to be categorical. Y-axis has to be numeric. And legend has to be categorical again. So this is the best fit. This is the best fit. Best fit. In all other cases, if all numeric, if all categorical, if x-axis is numeric, y-axis is numeric, and legend is categorical, in all other cases, it is not the best fit. Or sometimes it is not even possible. All three categories not possible. All three numeric, it is possible, but it is not best fit. So recommended is categorical in x-axis, y-axis should be numeric, and legend should be categorical value. Only in that case, column chart is the best fit. So I would create an Excel where I would capture all the visuals, which value should be used in which data format so that it is the best fit chart. So we have only covered bar chart, column chart. That's it. We haven't covered all other charts. We have only started. In today's session, we have seen what is formatting, how formatting plays an important role. Formatting the page, formatting your visual. I'll go back to the report view again, normal report view. See, There are a few other important aspects. If you go to this view tab, we have gone through grid lines, we have gone through mobile layout, we have gone through page view. I mean, how you want this page view, fit to page, fit to width, actual size. This is the actual size. This is how large that size of the page is. Fit to width or fit to page is more a kind of compressed manner. Now, see, the data is, I mean, in both the charts, the data is coming from car data. That is only one single data set. So if you click on anything, it will have an impact on both the visuals because there is an interactivity because every data is coming from that same data set, same table. So there is an interactivity between both the visuals. I mean, both the visuals are managed the same, both are same. Only thing is one is bar, one is column. But there is interactivity between both the visuals. There is this interactivity. Now, if you have placed this visual somewhere here, I don't want to move these visuals again. For this visual, there is no background, right? Effect, shadow. Okay, shadow is towards left, it seems. Bottom, maybe I'll make it to right. Now this looks good. If you want to do no, I mean, if you don't want to change, don't want to increase the size or decrease the size, you want to keep this visual as it is. There is this option in the view tab in the ribbon bar, lock objects. See, I'm dragging this with my mouse. I cannot change anything. That means it has locked the visuals. Whatever visuals we had, it has locked that visuals. So whenever you are publishing any report, make sure at the end you lock the objects. Go to the view tab, lock the objects. So no other person can increase or decrease the size. Whatever sizes you have used, that standard sizes will remain as it is. Lock the objects. All the visuals would be locked. Now I'll go back to the home tab. For my case, I'll not lock anything. You can see I can increase the size, I can change the position. Everything can be done once I remove that lock object or once I uncheck that. Now we have still 20 minutes. I would cover one important topic which is related to filters. What do you mean by filter? Filter is very important aspect of any Power BI report. So basically, there are three different types of filters. Filters in Power BI.
Shade is amber. It's very, very thick. It's very nice. The base is sturdy. I really like this part. But you can't see
Three different filters are available.
arm as well here. This little tag here. It's an adjustable arm. It's very nice. Overall, it's a very nice light.
Now, what is the use case of this filter that we need to understand first? I'll go back to the report. See, let's focus on this one report or maybe one visual. So we have CNG, diesel, petrol. I'll extend this petrol, I'll extend this, I'll maximize this filter tab. See, whatever columns you drag and drop in the data of that visual, you are dragging year, you are dragging cars, count of cars, you are dragging fuel type, that all columns will come here in the filter tab. There are three different filters, as I've said: filter on visual, filter on page, filter on all the pages. Usually this type of question is asked. I mean, what type of filters are available in Power BI and what are the use cases of these three types? This question is asked up to 4 years or up to 3 years of experience in Power BI, not more than that. Maybe you can expect if some person is very basic, is only want to judge you on very basic ideas, but you can expect a question of this: what are filters and what is the use case of these filters? What is the specific use case of these filters? There are three different filters: filter on a visual, filter on a page, filter on all the pages. So you have to differentiate. Filter on visual means, see, if I go to the year here, if I go to fuel type, I can filter only fuel type whichever I want. Maybe I only want to display diesel. So you can see only only diesel vehicles are visible here. No other vehicles are visible. If you want diesel as well as petrol, petrol is also visible. You want again CNG, that means it will be again default only. So this is filter on a visual. It is only impacting one visual. If I go back to the report, see, the other visual is not changing. If I remove petrol, the other visual is remaining as it is. It just retaining its behavior. Only this visual is getting changed. Why? Because this is, I am doing on filter on this visual. Only on this visual it will have a filtering impact. Now, how do I clear a filter? There is this option called as clear filter. I've cleared that filter. I'll go back. If you want to filter on this complete page, see, there are many other options: basic filtering, advanced filtering. These all we would be covering going further, but just wanted to give you an idea what is the use case of the filter. So filter on the visual means only that visual will have an impact. But if I want to filter on this page, that means I want to have impact on both the visuals, this as well as this. So I have to use this filter on this page. Now what you want to filter? I want to filter fuel type. So you have to drag and drop that column to this. That column came. See, if I change diesel, both the visuals will have an impact. Why? Because filter on this complete page I'm trying to do. See, both diesel are coming. Both diesel and petrol are coming. Both diesel and CNG are coming. So filter on this page, not on one visual, but all the visuals on this current page. Now, one more question. What do you mean by filter on all the pages? All the pages will have an impact. Let's assume that on the page 7, do we have any other visual? Let me copy this visual. I'll go to the page 7. I'll paste it here. I'll go to page 6. How to clear a filter? Clear filter. How to remove a filter? Remove this filter. Now, see, whenever you click on white spaces, there are only two filters. Why? Because you haven't clicked on any visual. If you click on visual, you will get 3. Filter on visual, filter on page, filter on all the pages. But if you click on white space, filter on this page or filter on all the pages. Only 2 filters are coming. But only when you click on this visual, filter on visual will also have an impact. See, only columns which you have dragged and dropped, that columns are visible. You can drag and drop any other column here for filtering. Maybe I want to filter by seller type. You can get that column only dealers you want. You can filter that way also. Even this is visible. Now you are filtering on a visual. I don't want to filter on a visual. I can filter this seller type on complete page. Yes, you can filter on the complete page. Both the visuals are changing. Now on all the pages means if I drag and drop this seller to filter on all the pages, see, if I use dealer here, now there is no impact. But if I use dealer here, there would be impact here as well. Automatically on all the pages, that filter is getting applied. So filter on all the pages is at the highest level. Filter on this page is at the mid level because all the visuals in that page will have an impact. And filter on that visual means only that visual on which the filter is applied, only that visual will have a filtering condition applied. So 3 filters on a visual, on a page, and on all the pages. Any questions on this filters? I've only covered basics of filter. For filter, there are many other options. I would be covering all this going further. But just to give you an idea, what is the use case of this filter pane? I've covered this. It is for filtering the information. And this is hard coded. You cannot make it as static. If you want to make this as static, you have to make sure that filters are also visible to the end user so that he can come and apply the filters from here. This is hard coded data. Any questions on the filters? Okay, there are no questions. We are almost good on time. Formatting we have seen, filters we have seen, formatting of the page also we have seen, how to lock objects, how to change the view of the page, increase or decrease the size, shadow, effects. So all the basics related to formatting we kind of covered today. So how a visual should be right fit, I mean the bar chart and column chart, that also we have figured out, that also we have identified which is best fit, which is not the best fit or not even possible. So I'll try to create a Excel sheet for this so that everything can be captured for all the visuals and easy to be understand. If you go through again, it is very easy to understand again. Filters on visual. Filter on page. Filter on all pages. So 3 different filters.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
So can you explain once again the legend option, sir? What is the use of the legend?
Okay, may remove this filter. Okay, so if I click on this, the column chart or bar chart, now we are getting bored with bar chart. Let's go with the column chart. I'll go to the column chart. This is our column chart. So in this column chart, see, if I remove this fuel type, what I'll do rather than this clustered, I'll use a stacked column chart. I'll remove this fuel type. Legend is what? It should be always a categorical data, not a numerical data. It should always be a categorical. That means it should be some string data. So I want to use fuel type. I want to differentiate which year how many cars were sold and by which fuel type the cars were sold. So if you want to bifurcate within the same column, it will bifurcate. That is called as legend. It is partitioning the data, right? It is partitioning as CNG, petrol, and diesel. Now you want fuel type, you can take fuel type. You want to partition it by seller type, dealer or individual. You can do this way. It is partitioning the data, right? This is partitioning the data.
Yes.
Legend is nothing but within that same column or bar, it will partition. If it's cluster means somewhere it will work this way. It will create a cluster. This one single cluster. Now, if I take a snap of this, see, this is one single cluster. This. So somewhere this is one single cluster. This is one single cluster. Somewhere it is partitioning, right? It is creating a partition here. Light, dark, depending on the seller type. This is one single cluster. This is one single cluster. Whereas if you would have taken stacked, it would be in the same column only. Rather than creating separate clusters, it would be same column. So legend is nothing but a partition of information, bifurcating that information, depending on certain use case or certain requirement.
Okay, got it, sir.
Any other question?
Ritesh,
Hmm.
for the end client, if they want to use these filters inside the visualization, can we make it?
Uh, can you please repeat your
For
question again?
example, they
Some.
just want to see like because here there is a separate pane for the like filter pane, but in this report only, can we do
Uh,
the filtering? Can we use filters?
yeah, we can use filters. See,
But we
there
need
is
to
a
create.
option called as slicer and filter. Somewhere it will look similar. Slicer is a visual here. See, if I hover on the visual slicer is a visual. Slicer might look similar like a filter, but filter and slicer are different. Once we come down to slicer, I'll give you the difference between filter and slicer. And maybe I, rather than giving, I mean, I giving the explanation, you people will directly come that what is difference between slicer and center both, because both are looking similar. Filter is a hard coded value. Slicer is not hard coded value. That's the only difference. Going further, I'll deeply explain that how different slicer and filter are. But anyways, your question was related to filters. Filter you can use on a visual, on a page, on all the pages, but it's a totally hard coded. You can use multiple conditions. Maybe you can use filter on a visual. Let's assume that you are using filter seller type here. I'm using now you can use one more filter on this page as a fuel type. Definitely you can use it. Multiple filters can be used.
Okay, cool.
Hmm.
But
Any other question?
Ritesh, filters can be changed too, right? Just like slicer. Like slicer
Yeah,
is
we
also
can
showing you
see.
multiple values,
The
and
thing
filters
is,
also showing you multiple values.
filters are usually not kept open for the end users. It is only
Exactly.
kept for
Right.
us as a developer, whereas
Right.
slicers are open for the end users.
But sometimes in the workspace, like when you can see filters, right? Filters are visible sometimes. I don't know how to turn it off or turn it on, but
There is an option. See, while publishing this report, you can
hmm.
uncheck this filters.
Oh,
That filter tab is gone. Now you can publish
so
that report.
in that case, it won't be seen in the front end.
Yeah. It won't be seen once you
Oh,
publish it
okay.
to the Power BI report, the
Oh,
service.
oh, gotcha. Okay, understood.
Hmm. Any questions?
Sir, daily the class is 1 hour or 1 hour 30 minutes, sir.
Okay. It's 1 hour 30 minutes. So if anyone has joined today, today is the fourth free session. We will have one more session tomorrow, total 5 sessions. If you want to access the previous sessions, you can go back, visit our website, KSR Data Vision. Just a moment, I'll show you. You can visit our website, KSR Data Vision. If you mention this way, yeah, this is our website. If you scroll down, hey, where is that? Give me a moment. Hmm. Now, how come this is opening the LinkedIn page? Usually, it should navigate to a website.
Yeah,
If you
just go to Google and search it. The Bing is sometimes.
Bing is sometimes
Yeah.
might be. You can go back here. KSR Data Vision. Yeah, this way. And this is a website. See, once you open this, you have an option called as sign in. If you click on sign in, it would open a new tab. Here you can always sign in with whatever name you have signed in. For me, it would be the instructor view. That's the reason it is not visible. But once you sign in, there you will get an option. Let me show you that way as well. Give me a moment. See, once you log in, this is how it is visible for you folks. So you can go to the home tab here. You can go to the courses. In the courses, you will get this full stack Power BI free preview. You can click on it. See, there's once this open, you will get the enroll now. Now it might be showing you buy now, but this is free course. Yeah, access. If I mean this course is already added, you will get an option called as enroll now. So once you enroll for it, that course would be available in your bucket here. If you go to my courses, in the my courses, that course would be available. So you can click on that course, this course. You can go to the class records here. You will get all the recordings. First 3 recordings are there. Today's 4th session, so this is still live. So you would be getting the recording for today after 1 hour. Now you are in the class records. You can go to the lessons. Here you will get the course curriculum, the complete PDF. It will take some time to load. So towards left, you will get some course curriculum PDF. So what I would be covering, everything in detail is mentioned. The class timing is 8 to 9:30 in the morning. It would be a 4 months. What we would be covering, SQL, Power BI, and Azure services. Azure with respect to Power BI with respect to data analyst. So you can go back and you can check all this. So for first 5 sessions, anyways, it's free. Once you enroll, you would be added to a batch where everything would be clearly mentioned and described to you. Any questions about accessing the previous recordings?
Yeah, is SQL completed or yet to complete?
Okay.
To start, sir?
Okay, so there are 2 options. For this batch, I have completed with SQL and I'm starting with Power BI. So parallelly, if you want to learn SQL, there are many batches which are going in parallel in KSR, not only for Power BI. For data science also SQL is same. For data engineering also SQL is same. For Power Platform also SQL is same. So any 3 batches or any other batch, even for AWS also SQL is same. So if you're attending any batch, you can parallelly attend that SQL also. If you're not satisfied, we would be giving recordings which I have covered for this batch. Even if you're not satisfied with that, once I would be covering Power BI and Azure, I would be starting a new batch with SQL. So you would be added there. So there are 3 options. You can utilize all 3 options.
Okay, so the class is 4 months is from now on, correct?
No, 3 months for Power BI. If you are covering, maybe if you're keeping SQL aside, then it would be 4 months.
Okay.
If you're learning SQL parallelly, it's 3 months.
Okay, which means from today it's going to be 3 months approximately.
Yeah, approximately. Okay. So what I can maybe give a comment on this. Today is November 11th. So December, January, maximum by February 2nd week. No, sorry, December, January, right? 2 months. And yeah, maximum by February 2nd week, we would be closing this.
Sir, Azure services means ADF, Azure.
Yeah. I'll mention that.
Databricks, everything you will cover.
Okay. So see, in case of Azure, from a data analyst point of view, ADF is more important. I would be covering, I mean, our emphasis would be more on ADF, only 70% of ADF. 70% emphasis would be on the ADF only. Now, along with ADF, there are a few other services which I would be covering, like key vaults. These are necessary services, ADLS, SQL Server, uh, service principal or app ID. These are all dependent services on ADF. Along with this, I would be covering basics of Synapse, Databricks. See, not in detail because we are not covering data engineering. If I go on covering Synapse, Databricks, you will forget about Power BI. Synapse, Databricks, and Logic Apps. Somewhere Logic Apps are similar like Power Platform only. And if anyone knows Power Platform environment, or rather than Power Platform, it's Power Automate. In Power Platform, there are multiple things: Power Apps, Power Virtual Agents. There are other components also, but Power Automate is more similar like Logic Apps. It will create workflows. So these would be basics. Basics in the sense, what is the exact use case? How you can create a Synapse environment? How you can integrate it with Power BI? So that all that stuff we would be covering. But more a kind of ADF inclined it would be. Because in most of the cases, ADF is recommended, or ADF is maybe it's the ask of the industry that you should know ETL tool along with BI. Synapse is not only ETL, it is more a kind of big data and ETL. Databricks is also big data and ETL. So these are more kind of engineering. ADF is not only engineering, it is data analyst also.
So what is the other 30% of ADF?
Yeah, 30% is this. 70% is ADF, 30% is these services.
Sir, but how about the PySpark and all?
So you see PySpark, if you want to learn, it's a data engineering. That is what I've said. Data engineering, we are not messing up with the data science, maybe the data analyst or any other BI tool.
So ADF will be covered end to end.
Yeah, ADF would be end to end. In Azure, 70% is ADF, 30% is all other services. 30 all other services.
So how many sessions we have of ADF?
You can say somewhere around 50.
50 sessions only for ADF?
50, not 50.
Okay.
1 month of Azure, 15 sessions. 1 month means 20, 22 sessions. Somewhere around 15 sessions would be related to ADF and dependent services.
Okay. So do we have any spreadsheet like day wise what will we cover in specifically to Power BI?
See, I can share you the spreadsheet, but I never follow that spreadsheet. The question is, if I feel that today somewhere that information mentioned in the spreadsheet, see, spreadsheets are developed for 1 month or maybe for 4 months duration. Usually, so there are few updates on monthly basis. So if that update is not available in that spreadsheet, it will have, now you will say that there is no information in that. So spreadsheets I'll never follow. What I follow is whatever I'm explaining, I would always mention that in the recordings. If you go to the recordings, now today's recording is not that clearly mentioned, but if you go to the Friday's recording, everything is clearly mentioned what I've covered. If you go to the Thursday's recording, I assume that you are already part of SQL, so you should know Sumit. So you can go back and check. Every day I'm mentioning in detail in the topics.
So sir, I am asking about like tomorrow's class so that we can prepare, we can search about that in Google or YouTube.
That is what I'm trying to say. If I follow the spreadsheet, it will have a negative impact. Because whatever is mentioned in that, I would be covering only that. Anything which is latest update, that would not be mentioned. So I never follow that spreadsheet.
So can you please tell at the end of the class, like we will cover that topic tomorrow or that subtopics?
Once these 5 sessions are done, maybe I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
Ritesh, how to enroll for the paid classes? Like it will be starting from a Wednesday, right? So through the website
Yeah.
only we have to
Okay.
enroll.
So there are two ways. If you want to enroll, you can go through that website. First thing is, I would recommend to contact with the KSR team. They will give you options. Either you directly make a payment from website and you would be enrolled directly from that. If not, there are the other options for the people who are using UPI payments. Maybe they want to directly transfer using UPI. They want to directly transfer using bank transfer, NEFT or online transfer. You can connect with our team. So our team in the backend, they will directly add that sessions to the your bucket, your whatever email ID is there, that would be added directly.
Okay,
So get
Ritesh,
in
thank you.
touch with our,
Yeah.
yeah. So get in touch
Yeah.
with our team. The mobile, the contact numbers are mentioned at the background in the below here. So you can connect with this number. If not this number, the other number is also mentioned here. You can email us or maybe you can ping us on WhatsApp. Best thing is you can ping us on WhatsApp. Mahesh or someone from the KSR will reach out to you. You still have a chance. I'm not saying that you can enroll it today because even Mahesh will say, wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow, end of the day, you can enroll it. Once the tomorrow session is done, you can reach out to a team. You can enroll for this course. Any other questions?
I have a question like, if we don't know SQL, still we can able to understand this Power BI and remaining
Okay,
topics.
good. Now, question is valid. See, if you have some idea about SQL, Power BI is maybe you can say if you're learning Power BI, you would be 90-95% pro in Power BI. If you don't know SQL, somewhere you would be 75 to 80%. There is a chance that you might, I mean, some components you might don't understand easily. Some components. I'm not saying that you will not even understand. You will understand, but it will take some time. That's the only difference. You can learn SQL post Power BI. Yes, you can learn that. If you have, go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead, Imran. You have something to say, right?
Yeah, got it. Thank you so much, Ritesh.
Mhm. Any other questions?
Ritesh, once we enroll to the, once we enroll to this course, we will get the Power BI sign in.
Yeah. For
Yes,
2 months, you will get the Power BI Premium per user license. That is given from the KSR.
Okay. Only for 2 months?
Okay. Now the question is Power. See, that email ID is valid for you for lifelong. You can keep that email ID. I mean, until how long it runs, you can keep that email ID. Now, for 60 days, that whatever payment is done, we usually do it for 60 days. For 1 month, we are almost spending 2,000 per user. 2 plus 2, 4,000 we have spent. So not more than 2 months. Usually it is not recommended. See, 2 months means if I give the email ID from today itself, it will not be activated. You have to go back and activate that. So I would recommend to activate the email IDs that Power BI service at the end of Power BI. I would be explaining that. So you will have an ample time to practice. There is a very high possibility post 60 days also you can increase it. That, but how to increase it, how to enroll for next 60 days of free premium per user, I'll let you know. But from our end, we would always commit that we will give you 60 days, not more than that. There is a possibility you can increase it more than 60 also.
Hi, once this course is done, if in the future, if we need to upgrade ourselves, what will be the better option to upgrade in which course will be helpful after this?
I mean, what upgrade you're talking about, Sneha?
No, once done with this course, in future, if we
Uh-huh.
need to upgrade ourselves in technically, what will be the better way to go?
See, nowadays, if you want to enter a field of BI, then Power BI and the ADF is best. So if you are upgrading yourself to this, maybe you can survive in the market for next 4 or 5 years. Okay, if you want to go advance of this, then there is a data engineering. Then there would be Python, there would be PySpark, there would be big data. So all that would be coming into picture.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yep. Anyone? Any other questions? Okay, it's almost 9:40. If there are no questions, we are good with today. If you have any questions, please reach out to our team. Our team will definitely help you out. For enrollment and all this purpose, see, I would recommend you to wait till tomorrow because we have fifth session. Once you are done with that session, maybe you can you can ping the team today that I want to enroll for this. Maybe once tomorrow's session is done. So they will definitely reach out to you at whatever time you have mentioned and they'll help you out, whether from a website or whether from backend, how you would be added. It is up to them. They'll reach out to you and they'll definitely help you out. Right? Any other questions? Feel free to ask or maybe note it down. Anything related to technical, I'm the right person to give the answers. You can note that questions and you can ask me. Once you enroll for this Power BI, you would be added to a group, a WhatsApp group. So you can ask me question in that WhatsApp group at whatever time you want. Right? Assuming that there are no other questions, I'm closing this line for today. Let's connect back tomorrow at 8 a.m. in the morning. Yep. Thank you, everyone. Have a very good day.
Thank you.